Hello guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some Combat Evolved footage. I've really been enjoying my time with Combat Evolved and pretty much every Halo game on the collection, to be honest, to a greater or lesser extent. The lucky thing is with the collection is that I literally love Halo 1 to 4 so much. They're some of my favorite games, and each of them hold a special merit that is worth coming back to those games and worth revisiting, and I don't think I'll ever grow completely tired of them. They all have something special for me, and the only game that didn't was Halo Reach. So from a selfish perspective, the collection was pretty much everything I wanted, and now that it's in a working condition, it's nice to be able to look at it in a more pleasant light. Before, it was just trying everything in my power, and everyone around me trying everything in their power to will the game to work, in the hopes that if they complain on Twitter enough, the game might get in a better working state, but we all kind of thought it probably wouldn't. And, you know, it's a little late, but at the same time, I'm ready to start thinking about what I want to do to enhance this game, or more so what I want 343 to do to enhance this game at this point. This is no longer asking and begging on our knees for a working game. This is just asking 343 to make a great game that little bit better. So I want to preface this video by saying this isn't, you know, negativity, this isn't ranting and raving. This is just a few of the things that I would like to make MCC that little bit better and that little bit more polished and that little bit more addicting. Because I think it's in a pretty darn great state, and there's only a few things personally I would pick that I need drastically changed. And now, don't be afraid, guys, to leave in the comments, you know, whatever you want changed, because I'm sure different people have different expectations or opinions on what's right or wrong at the moment, and it's good for us to share that out in the open and to let each other know, you know, maybe there's something that we haven't even thought about, that you've thought about, etc. The things that I want to talk about today are mainly optimization to Halo 2 Anniversary, because I just think it could be a lot better right now, and optimization to Big Team Battle, and last but not least, optimization to the playlist integration in terms of ranks, or the lack thereof. And I'll start with H2A, because I think H2A is supposed to be the standout game. This is the stuff that they were showing at game conventions. Like, I went to Eurogamer personally, and they showed off H2A, and it was bright and it was shiny, and it got me excited. And I'm still excited for the idea of Halo 2 Anniversary. I just think it has two really, really significant problems that need addressing ASAP. And the first of which is that the netcode, in my opinion, and I've spoken to a few other commentaries, I'm pretty sure Delementary would second this notion, and just other players have experienced problems across the board, is that the netcode just does not feel optimized. Often it feels severely laggy, to the point of almost unplayable at times. There's been times where I've been streaming this game and I almost want to put the controller down because the connections are so ludicrous. And it's a shame because, you know, when I played this game on a good connection, it always felt like the netcode was like the perfect netcode. When it's right, it feels perfect. But nowadays, it seems very rare that it feels right. And I notice more getting kicked from the game, more splits with teams, just a couple of issues here and there. And I really want to play H2A. I have nothing really particularly against the game as a game as it stands. I just want it to be in a more playable state. And the other thing I'd want to add to that is that I believe the maps could be a lot better. I think the maps are pretty boring. I think we've all come to terms with this, and now that 343 are in a state where they don't have this gigantic, colossal laundry list of problems hovering over their head, I'm hoping that they can push the community, and you know, like I said, put it on the community's shoulders. Let them do it. You just, you know, give us the tools to work with, and make community forge test playlists and stuff like that, because H2A could be a great game, as much as people complain about stuff like the auto aim. You know, Halo 2 has quite a bit of bullet magnetism. Halo 2 Classic, if you go back to it, it's not like Halo 2 Classic is a perfect game. The main problems with H2A, for me anyway, and for a lot of other people, is the severe lack of content. It's it's kind of horrendous, and there's just not enough variety to keep the game going, and it's kind of a glaring issue when you enter other games like Halo 2 Classic, Combat Evolved, Halo 3. You look at the map pools in those games, and H2A is just so far away from that mark, to be honest, that it's kind of hard for it to keep up. And I usually find myself a little bit annoyed when H2A comes up, which it shouldn't be. That's the standout game, that's the newest game, that's the game I should be the most excited to play. It should be fresh, it should be exciting. And I am by no means a Halo elitist. There's nothing in there from a gameplay mechanics level that really, really irks me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that getting released. Next, we'll move on to the ranking systems, because right now I think this is a huge issue for the game. I think in terms of just a comprehensive matchmaking experience where you get to play the way you want to play, I just don't think we have that right now. You have a bunch of playlists that are effectively social matchmaking, and then there's no join in progress in said matchmaking, so everyone ends up quitting, and you get a bunch of 4v2s, a bunch of 4v1s, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it. It's not particularly fun to sit through, and the proposal that I would offer for this is essentially copy Halo 3's system, because Halo 3's system worked, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially when it comes to something like playlist optimization. There's not very much bias or argumentation that can go on there. It's just kind of like, give us what worked, and what worked, in my opinion, is Halo 3 and countless other people's opinions. I think if you have a social matchmaking experience and then you start adding in more and more ranked playlists, people are going to be able to play Halo the way they want to play it. And I think in social matchmaking, you should bring back join in progress. Not for ranked, of course, but for social, I really do honestly think it would work. Because in Halo 4, join in progress was one of the things that kept me more engaged with the game than ever. They didn't obviously have the better integration of social and ranked. They were all kind of ranked CSR playlists with JIP, so obviously that was a mistake on their part. But the JIP aspect of the game really did increase the longevity for me, because there was so much less quitters, and when the quitters did happen, they got instantly replaced, and it was just a seamless experience. It was drop in, drop out, and I didn't feel guilty if I had to go for dinner, for example, or I had to go do something, because the game was still going to be going on without me, and I would get replaced, etc. So that was really cool. And last but not least, I think the problem I want to go over is big team battle matchmaking. Big team battle is a keystone of the Halo matchmaking experience, and right now it's not necessarily up to snuff with where a lot of the players would like it. It seems risky to add more players to your lobby and to search. 4s are pretty much guaranteed to search. In fact, we were searching BTB with a 5 yesterday, and maybe even a 6, and it was working pretty well for the most part. But the more players you add to your party, the more risks that you incur, and the more resets and getting kicked out and kind of MCC-ish problems happen. And BTB has been a staple of Halo matchmaking. It's one of the most popular, if not the most popular, if I'm not mistaken, playlist that's ever been in the Halo matchmaking experience. So I think it needs to work, it needs to be seamless, because BTB is something that above all attracts the casuals, it attracts the majority audience, and the majority audience don't want to sit around waiting for games. They're not as dedicated as some of us zealot Halo fans. They won't look for other experiences. If they can't get a game of BTB, maybe they'll switch to COD, maybe they'll switch to Destiny. So it needs to be a pretty flawless, pretty seamless experience. It's close, it's just not quite there. You get some days which work really well for you, which I had last night. It worked tremendously, but the night before that, it seemed pretty darn janky. People were getting kicked out, and it could have been a lot better. Anyway, I've been Modest Major. I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. If you've got any suggestions, like I said, leave them down in the comment section below. I've been Modest Major. Peace out.